finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.
What day is it today? Today is Thursday, and it is World Cup quarterfinal day, guys. I am so psyched. Friday and Saturday, 4 games, 8 teams left. A few surprises along the way, as we've seen with Spain going down to Morocco in penalty kicks. You would have thought that was the Italian team of the 1980s trying to take penalty kicks for Spain. But alas, here we are. We're going to discuss 3 of the games on the card. With me from WagerTalk.com, it's Nick Borrman and Kevin Dolan. And, of course, from Sports Memo, one of my favorites, Pavlos, Laguretos. Guys, Netherlands, Argentina, England, France, Portugal, Morocco are 3 of the games we're going to discuss. We won't have enough time to do the Brazil one against Croatia, but I think at least most of us are cheering or hoping for Brazil. But Kev, let me go to you first, man. How are things? How you doing? What's going on at WagerTalk as far as the quarterfinals for you?
Yeah, all good, Carmine. And obviously, I was watching that penalty shootout going, like, why couldn't Spain shoot that bad in the 2002 World Cup? They beat us on penalties during that one. It was so tough to watch. They were on fire in that one, and they couldn't hit a barn door there the other night against Morocco. But it's been a fascinating tournament so far, obviously. As you said, been some big upsets. But, it's funny because you still look around the room right now. You see the French, you see the English, the Portuguese, the Brazilians, and so on, all the usual suspects. So it's looking like the cream's starting to rise to the top. And we got a 4% best bet top play loaded this weekend for the quarterfinal matchups. One play that I really like. We've got players in the other one, client plays only, but as I said, it's really starting to kick off, and now we're getting into the business end of the competition. So all good.
All right, and I wish you luck with those. And for those of you watching out there, I'll remind you a little later on. I've had the World Cup tournament packages lowered for all the guys on today's show. You can find them in their drop-down menus, and it's down to $89. So it's basically the price of 3 different cards, and you're going to get every play right through to the finals and the third place game as well too. Nick, man, it looks like it's seeming like a collision course. Brazil and France, defending champions against the tournament favorites, but there's still a lot of teams in the way. Croatia, Netherlands, Argentina in Brazil's way. And of course, in France's way, you've got England, Portugal, and Morocco. So there's still a lot of football to play. How are things looking? What do you have up at Wager Talk?
Yeah, well, hopefully you're wrong on that, because my only future still existing is on the Dutch side, plus 1,400. So I'm hoping they can get through, but versus Argentina is going to be a tough match. I do have a 5% play loaded for these quarterfinal matchups. That goes on Friday, $35. So basically get almost half the value of the $89 package for the rest of the World Cup right there alone. So definitely a good deal. But I just want to echo what Kevin says. Just for listeners out there, remember this 4 years from now. If you want to take an upset, stick to the group stage, right? And if you want to do that, look at round 1. You saw a few there, and maybe round 3, match day 3, when some teams are resting. But otherwise, it has been a very, at least up to this point, the knockout round, it's been, as Kevin said, the cream of the crop coming to play and moving on. And just when you get to this point of the tournament, it's the best are going to move on. It would be an all European and all South American quarterfinal here if it wasn't for Spain sucking ass like they did, as Kevin said. But so it goes, and we move on. But I think it'll be the end of the road for Morocco here. But anyway, all's good. Looking forward to getting to this quarterfinals, and then getting to the final next week.
All right, and Nick, just finish off strong, my friend. Pavlos, hopefully everything is well for you. I'm back from Vegas. I was in Vegas. I did catch a few games in the sports book. One of them was the Brazil-South Korea game, and I couldn't get every single bet I wanted in just because the books don't offer some of them. But I did take, of course, Brazil minus the 1.5. I had the team total on that, had the over as well too. But I'm at the book, I'm in line, and I get a wager down. And as I turn around, the guy behind me is like, "You laid a goal and a half with Brazil?" He goes, "That's not a very smart move," he said to me. And then you see this guy sneaking out of the sports book when it's like 4-0 or 3-0 for Brazil. I didn't want to compound things. I was just enjoying the game. But how have you enjoyed the tournament thus far?
Really well. I mean, in the last 7 days, I'm number one at Sports Memo, and $100 bettors made close to $3,500 in that span, and I couldn't be happier. 11-3 in my last 14 4-star and 5-star plays in the World Cup, and I'm hitting 5% top bets on a 71% caliber this season with 22-9. I do have another 5% World Cup top bet loaded for Friday. And I have individual packages for the 2 Friday matches, the 2 Friday quarterfinals. I priced them $15 each. There's all kinds of props there, some interesting stuff, about 3 or 4 plays in each package. But my big play is on Friday, 5-star top bet. And I couldn't be happier to discuss this quarterfinals with you guys because it's really, really, really exciting. Really exciting.
And discuss it we will, guys. Let's get right to it. We're going to look at the first game on the card, which is Netherlands and Argentina. We'll have a look at the numbers on this one. Netherlands plus 263. The draws plus 215. Argentina plus 120. Nick, I'm going to go to you first on this one. You want to talk about two teams that have just been playing some great football, not just in this tournament, but literally over the last year and a half. You have Netherlands 19-game unbeaten run since getting knocked out in the knockout stages of the Euros in 2021. They're 14 wins, 5 draws over the last 19 games, 3-0-1 thus far in this tournament. And then you look at Argentina, 1 loss in their last 40 games, and that was on match day 1 to Saudi Arabia in a game that they completely dominated, especially on the XG, as you love. But 29 wins, 10 draws, 1 loss over their last 40 games. And these two teams meet and are playing extremely well right now. I love teams that build throughout a tournament and get better, and both these teams are getting better as the tournament goes on. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I mentioned already I have the future on the Netherlands before I want to break down this game. I just want to make sure that is known. But, I've been more impressed with Argentina. Yeah, they lost that opening game and everybody panicked, but they have played very, very well this whole tournament, even in that game, and their defense has been very good. I mean, they are just giving up nothing to other teams. It's 4 games. They're allowing 4 shots per game. Nobody else is even close to that number, and just 1.25 on goal. So it's, the Dutch obviously are going to be the best team they've played thus far. So it's, no offense to the Socceroos, of course, but it's clearly going to be the toughest match that they have. However, I do trust that defense. They've shown in all their South American, whether it be qualifiers or the Copa America, especially when they play against Brazil, that they can shut down Brazil better than anybody can, and they always play the Brazilian stuff. So there's no reason to think they can't do that here against Netherlands. And Netherlands, yes, they've gotten a little better. They looked a little better. They did exactly what their game plan, what they wanted to do on paper against the U.S. They allowed the U.S. to have some possession. They struck quickly early in that game on a couple counterattacks and got up 2-0, and then were able to just kind of play that out in the second half. They didn't have to really push offensively. But prior to that, I was a little dejected, maybe is the best word to use, as far as how they looked, especially against Ecuador. I mean, they were just getting manhandled all over the pitch that particular game. So I was very weary going into even that U.S. match if they would be able to get through. But they did what they had to. I'm just not sure if they're going to have enough to get past Argentina here. But I do expect it to be a very tight game, and that's why in this particular game, I'm actually going to look at the under. It is lined as the lowest total of the quarterfinals, and I think that's for good reason. It sits at 2. I recommend you can get an alternate Asian line at 2.25. You only have to pay about -130, so it's not too much of a price ask to get that number, and that's available at FanDuel or DraftKings on their at the spread options. But I just don't see a lot of chances here. Argentina's proved that they can what they can do. The Dutch know how Argentina play, and they can put enough pressure on them. I said the Dutch. I've been, I guess, dejected with their offense, but their defense still has been pretty solid. So I think they can at least contain Argentina. But Argentina likes to, they really like to build. They're a team that does not push forward and go for goal and go on breaks very often. They like to hold the ball. They like to play from the back. They like to get it up the pitch, and they like to take their time and eventually wear teams out, especially when you get into the second half. So it's not like that they're going to come out here and just boom, 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 score 3 goals and put this thing to bed. I think it's going to take a while to get to that point. So I like the chances that this can stay under. This could be a 1-0. Maybe it's 1-1. Maybe it's 2-0 type of a game, but I just don't see a lot of chances. So under the total, I'm recommending this one, guys.
All right, Nick Borrman of WagerTalk.com. Kev, he talked about the under, and sometimes when you see a team like Netherlands who score goals, a team like Argentina, obviously with guys like Alvarez and Lautaro Martinez, and of course Lionel Messi, you start to think this game has got goals, but we've seen it so many times. 2 very good teams, and it is a low-scoring game. And Virgil van Dijk, the defender, for Netherlands, obviously saying this isn't me versus Messi. This is a team versus team game here. Do you look at the total here, or do you specifically look for a side possibly and maybe the goal handicap?
Well, no, I mean, I had the same thing as Nick circled. I took a look at the under. It's just, you could go for the alternative. You'd have to go for the alternative line, in my opinion. Where it is right now at a straight 2, I just can't get involved at that number. But this is probably the toughest of the quarterfinals for me. I've kind of flip-flopped on this game since the opener. Not so much in terms of a side, because I quite like Argentina in this one to advance, as Nick said, all the Netherlands issues, getting out of the group stage and so on. But while I like Argentina to progress, the question, that I have is, can they do it inside 90 minutes? And I'm just not sure about that. I was looking therefore at the qualify market in this one. But again, even though I lean Argentina to progress in this one, -170, that suggests an implied probability of around 63-64%. That's pretty much, while I lean Argentina, that's pretty much the percentage I would make it. So, as I said, this is a very difficult game for me. Can they finish it inside 90 minutes? That's the question. If they can, it's +120 in Argentina. If they can't, the outright draw is +215. So because of that, because I don't know which way it's going to go, I'm going to take the bigger price here and back the outright draw on this one. What I don't see happening is the Dutch winning this one inside regulation. I think if the Netherlands do cover this line, it'll be because of a stalemate. It'll be 0-0, 1-1 type of scoreline. So nothing crazy for me in this one. The Dutch, we mentioned it last week on last week's show, the Dutch have already done their job for me. We had that 4% future on them back at the start of the tournament to reach the quarterfinals. They delivered on that, so I don't really care what happens to the Netherlands right now. But I do think they struggle moving forward. I don't think they just quite have enough quality to really, make a finals run in this one. So I like Argentina, but look, I think this is priced correctly. So as I say, I like the outright draw, and maybe if you're looking for a bit of extra value, take Argentina to win in extra time or on penalties.
All right, Kevin. Dolan, wager talking. Argentina to win in extra time. I believe it is 9-1, and I think in penalties 10-1, somewhere around there. The prices are pretty juicy if you believe that's the method of victory. Pavlos, these guys are talking about the total and likely fewer goals. And when you have a total like 2, I'm looking at goal scorers, and I've been releasing some goal scoring props. And the numbers are juicy, but they're juicy just because you don't expect to see a lot of goals. A guy like Memphis Depay is sitting at almost I think +275 or +300. And then the problem with Argentina, as you guys know, is that I was discussing earlier, was who actually starts up front for them. Is it going to be Alvarez and Martinez comes off the bench, or will they go with Martinez with Alvarez coming off the bench? And it's always a dicey proposition when you're looking at playing goal-scoring props that you want to you want the guy who is actually starting, although books do allow you the opportunity to mark the play as void if the player doesn't start. Most books will give you that option. But are you looking at any player props here, or are you looking straight at the game, Pavlos?
I'm looking at player props. This is two of my favorite teams in this tournament. Yes, they've had a lot of criticism about how they play. I think the Netherlands, they gave some answers in the match against the USA. I think that they won't be an easy prey for Argentina. And Argentina, it's really tough to make calls, especially in the sides, whenever these, two such strong sides clash against one another. As far as the total, I do think that the two is just a bit low in my. If I had to play the total, I'd go with the over 2. I think that's a safe way to play this. However, I am looking at goal scorer props, and it's none other than Lionel Messi at plus 180. I found its odds at FanDuel. It's the best odds I could find, and plus 180 on Messi to score in any match is just a bit too high for my standards. So I'm getting Lionel Messi to score anytime at plus 180. I think he's on a mission. He wants to win the only trophy that he hasn't won. He wants to join the other, mainly Maradona in that pantheon of Argentinian players. However, one small statistical fact that worries me is that the holder of the Copa America have never won the World Cup. In Argentina, they won the last Copa America. I'm just saying. On the other hand, Netherlands coach Luis van Gaal has never lost in a World Cup match. He has 8 wins and 3 draws. And that's, I'm not suggesting that you should make your calls or place your bets judging by these stats alone, but I just had to say that. Now, I think this is going to be a cagey match, but, when I saw the prices on Lionel Messi to score anytime, who, by the way, I don't think he's going to be paired up with Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro Martinez has been close to invisible so far in this tournament, and his agent, I believe, came out yesterday or today, and he said that he has some sort of an ankle issue. He's playing with a hurt ankle, so I'm not sure if he's trying to hide his bad form or there's actually something wrong with Lautaro, but I do think it's going to be Alvarez who's going to start at the Argentinian offense. So for me, I'm taking Lionel Messi to score anytime at plus 180, and I don't care who wins.
And I don't care who wins. I love it, Pavlos. Again, we got to get a T-shirt with that made on it. But let's have a look at, at the leans of this game before we move on to the next. Nick is on the under 2.25. That's a split line of 2 and 2.5. The alternate line of minus 130. Pavlos with Lionel Messi to score anytime. And of course, Kev with the outright draw. You guys can all sort of get there if this game finishes, I believe, 1-1. So that'll get us into extra time and a little more football. Speaking of football, England and France, guys, let's have a look at the numbers on this one. You got England plus 212. The draw is plus 222. France plus 140. Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this one. This is probably the one everyone wants to see. Of course, if you're a Premier League fan, a lot of players in this on these two sides. This is what I'm looking forward to as well too. Mbappe versus Kyle Walker, or is it Usman? Is it Dembele versus Harry Maguire? It is offense versus defense. They seem to be talking about, but again, two very good teams. Possibly another low-scoring game. How are you looking at this one?
I talked about France in the World Cup preview show we did back at the start of the tournament. They were one of my picks, plus 650 to win it outright. So I'll definitely be cheering them on here. To be honest, I'll probably be cheering them on anyway. But I'm still kind of torn on this one. While I obviously want France to progress. In fact, actually, our 4 futures that we picked for this tournament: Serbia, Brazil, France, and Portugal. Serbia obviously gone home, but I'd absolutely love a scenario where I'm sitting with, 3 futures tickets on 4 of the World Cup semi-finalists in the next round. So that'd be ideal. But I have to say, from just a single match perspective, I like England in this one. France arguably do have the best player on the pitch in Mbappe. But beyond him, I believe England are the stronger team here overall. We look at that 26-man roster, really deep bench for England. So I'm not going to harp on about it, obviously. I've gone over this road before. But if this was any other manager, I'd be all over England here plus money. It'd be a 5%. As I do believe, actually, the wrong team is favoured in this one. But how many times have we seen it? England look great against the likes of Sweden, Ukraine, Iran, but they do completely freeze against the bigger teams. Southgate always opts to go way too negative in these pressure matchups. He did it against Croatia in the World Cup semi-final last time out. He did it against Italy. They took the lead in that game, and he shuts up shop in like the 5th minute. You might look at the Germany result to get over the line, whatever. Thomas Muller missed an absolute sitter one-on-one with the keeper. That's a different result if he gets that goal. So, I just want to say, Gareth, if you're watching this show, take the shackles off this team. He needs to cast his mind back to Euro 96. That's probably a painful memory for him. He missed the penalty to send England through against Germany. But, he needs to copy his old boss, Terry Venables. Let this team run free. Venables at England running all over opponents. They destroyed the Dutch. Gascoigne was doing serious damage. Shearer was top scorer in that competition as well. And the fact is this English team are far stronger. Teddy Sheringham wouldn't get on this current English team. Are you joking me? Harry Kane's the best English forward in the last quarter century. I can only go back a quarter century because obviously I'm not that old. But he's better than Rooney. He's better than Shearer. He's got an immense game, but he's forced to work in this kind of defensive shell where he's working out of midfield, bringing the ball through. So, I really like England in this game if they had a different manager. But I just feel that Southgate will do something silly. He'll go way too negative in this one, and Mbappe might pop up, with something magical because he's capable of that at the end of the day. So, but look, I'm going to trust the numbers in this one. I'm going to take England to advance at plus 120 for a small play. It's only going to be a small play because we have that future on France. But I do think England are the side to play in this one from a value perspective.
All right, Kev. The Kevin Dolan Wager Talk. You and I disagree on this one, I think, but we agree on the manager because I just don't think he adapts within a game the way he should. He obviously made that mistake against Italy in the Euros, and I just don't think he makes the changes. It almost seems like the guys coming on are like for like, and instead of players bringing in players who can influence a game. The problem I have, Nick, as I go to you next on this one, is you look at who England have played thus far, and they play you look at Iran, USA, Wales, Senegal. All 4 of those teams are missing one thing. And what is that? Strikers. Iran didn't have them. The USA, other than Pulisic, didn't have it. Wales, Gareth Bale couldn't even play 90 minutes and only done it twice all year long. And of course, Senegal missing Sadio Mane, who was injured and had missed the World Cup. Missing strikers. What does France have? France has plenty of them. And so it now comes to, can that midfield and back line for England stop these guys? And what kind of a plan does Gareth Southgate put together to stop this team from France? Can he do it?
Hang on a second. I'm getting word Gareth Southgate just tweeted, "Piss off, Kevin Dolan." So I guess he is watching. Carm, listen, you bring up a great point, and that's going to be kind of where I circle in on this game. And France goes as Mbappe goes, and the key to this match for England is containing Mbappe. And if they can do that, I think England have a very, very good chance to advance from this game. So I too will back what Kevin said and suggest England as the play based on their price, which I think is very, very generous at this point because, that's the plan. If Southgate, you're right, Karam, he doesn't adjust very well in-game, but if he can make the right pre-game strategy here on how to contain Mbappe and just limit his chances, they have a chance here to move on. But you're right, that the fact that they haven't faced a striker like this, makes me scratch my head a little bit. But Poland, listen, they put up a pretty good game plan against France, and they actually did a great job limiting France's chance. And you look at the numbers on that game, and the quality of shots were not good for France. It's just they have the best goal scorer on the planet, Mbappe, and his 2 goals came on very low expected goal shots. but that's what he does, and that's what the best strikers in the world will do. When they get a chance, however small or not great it is, they can capitalize. But I mean, if you ask Poland before the game, like, hey, you're going to limit France to 1.37 expected goals and one big chance in this game, you got to expect Poland's going to be thrilled to take that. So they just didn't have the offensive quality to counter and be able to keep up with France if they do score. England obviously does have offensive capabilities to do that. So I have to think that if France do score, England's not going to be intimidated by that, and they can at least try to punch back. Poland just really didn't have a chance. The one worry I have for England is, yes, they got here at a 3-0 win versus Senegal, but I have to wonder how that match would have played out had Senegal striked first. Senegal had the best chances early on in that game. England made a couple of dumb mistakes in their own end, gifted Senegal a couple chances that they just couldn't capitalize on. If you do it against France and Mbappe's back there, he's going to capitalize on those. So they got to clean that up. And I really wonder if, Senegal had scored first in that game, how that plays out. But they didn't. England scored, momentum quickly changed, and pretty much it was over from that point on. So they got to be careful on their own pitch, or their own side of the pitch, and not make some stupid mistakes like that. But the last thing I'll say is Kevin mentions this guy's name throughout our shows or throughout the season. I got to say England's best or at least most important player this tournament has to be Declan Rice. And, Kevin might frown upon me saying that, but he's been very, very good and very important for this team this year. And he's going to be obviously very, very important as they lean on him and controlling what happens with when France have the ball. But listen, if Southgate develops the right game plan here and they can control Mbappe, they can win. So I agree with Kevin. I think taking England's, he suggested taking 2 advance. I'll say, screw it, go money line, 2-1 on your number, plus 200 or 205. Maybe you can get on England to win this thing in 90 minutes is very, very good value, and they look like they can actually make that jump this year. So I just played a value play here. I think England has a pretty good price, and I'll back them on this one.
All right, Nick Borrman at WagerTalk. Pavlos, I'm going to give you the last word on this one. Listen, this is what I think it's probably the best game of the weekend, the one I'm looking forward to watching. You look at England 2018 semifinals, lose to Croatia. They make it to the Euro finals, of course. Unfortunate to lose that one in penalties. But this team has been there in the big tournaments. Can they take that next step forward? Here they've got the next step forward is winning a quarterfinal match and making it into, obviously, the semis to face the winner of Portugal and Morocco, which we'll discuss next. But where are you going with this one? What are you having with your morning tea? Is it going to be scones or croissants?
It's going to be whatever it's going to be. It's going to be a lot of them because I'm taking the over 2.5 goals at plus money, plus 105. England, yes, you guys made some great, excellent points. I do think that Jude Bellingham also is having a terrific World Cup so far. Just 19 years old. This dude is going to leave a mark in soccer history. However, yes, a lot of great points. England, they didn't really convince me when they play against big sides. If you take those results in the UEFA Nations League with a grain of salt, but they lost to Italy, they lost to Hungary, draw against 2 draws against Germany actually. So if you look in the last year or so or two, they struggled against big teams. And France are a big team. And England, historically, they've been eliminated in 6 of the 8 times they met a European side in a knockout match. While on the other hand, France, they've qualified in 8 of 10 such matches. And Kylian Mbappe, there's a really interesting stat. He has never lost a World Cup match in which he started. He has played 11 World Cup matches, started in 9, and won all 9. So the 2 times that he came from the bench were a draw in the 2018 World Cup in the last match of the group stage, and of course the loss to Tunisia in this World Cup, again in the last match of the group stage where France were already qualified. So Mbappe, he's going to leave a mark. He's already leaving a mark in world soccer. I do see goals here, guys. I don't see how this English defense will able to contain both Dembele and Mbappe on either side, and Giroud is gonna be this Giroud-Maguire matchup is gonna be very, very interesting to watch. I think that Giroud has the moves and has the skills to be able to maybe ridicule Maguire. I keep forgetting his name. He's so irrelevant. But still, I think Maguire has a lot of things to prove in this World Cup. He's been playing surprisingly good, to be honest. But I think he's just an accident waiting to happen. And with Mbappe and Dembele and Giroud and all those guys, I think we'll see several goals, maybe from France. I think France to score twice is also something to look at. I'm gonna take it slowly and take it easily. I won't complicate it. I'll take the over 2.5 goals plus 105. Both sides, they're 3-1 to the over 2.5 goals so far in the tournament. Whatever that means, because in these knockout stages anything can happen. But I still think that both sides will get on the score sheet. Maybe you can get both teams to score and over 2.5 goals for a better price. But I think I don't really want to complicate it in this occasion. I'm taking the over 2.5 goals plus money, and don't care who wins again.
All right, let's have a recap of the plays, and then we have to bang out this last game before we go. But let's have a look at a recap of what everyone liked in this one. If we can get that up on the score from our all right, so we're going to get that. I'll get back to the recaps. We're just having a slight tech problem, but we'll get on to the next game, which is Portugal and Morocco. Let's have a look at the odds on this one. Portugal minus 150 in this one. The draw is plus 276. Morocco plus 457. Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Overreaction. 6-1 Portugal beating Switzerland. I'm not sure if there's going to be an overreaction in the line. It doesn't look so thus far. The line's been bouncing around a little bit, but man, let me tell you, against Switzerland, Fernando Santos, the manager for Portugal, literally made people swallow their hearts, the Portuguese fans, when he benched or kept Ronaldo on the bench and put Gonzalo, if I pronounce his name right, Ramos in that striker spot. And he responded with 3 goals. Portugal wins 6-1. I'm not sure if he can do it again. People wondered why he was there. It could either be they thought the game was going to go possibly to extra time and or penalty kicks, and you'd rather have Ronaldo in as a super sub, or it could be very well that he wasn't happy with the fact that when he took him off in the 65th minute, Ronaldo complained and made a bit of a stink on the sidelines. And anytime you do that with the manager rules, and he did in this spot. Give me your thoughts on this game. We probably have about 6 or 7 minutes to tidy up this final game.
Well, bet big, win big, and Santos certainly did that. Made a ballsy move, and it paid off for him. And, Portugal seem to be hitting the right gear at the right time in this tournament. Glad we locked in that plus 1,400 ticket on them at the start of the tournament. I don't expect another Swiss-type result in this one, obviously. Morocco have shown themselves to be extremely competent in this competition so far. Give Spain virtually nothing on Tuesday night as well. Spanish with the 0.61 XG created. So really small margins there. No matter what happens in this game, look, I just expect it to be another, extremely tight kind of grinding affair. So I actually like the winning margin prop on this one. Portugal to win by exactly 1 goal plus 250. I think that's some good value this weekend. While I do expect Morocco to frustrate the Portuguese for large portions in this game, like they did against Croatia, like they did against Belgium, against Spain, and so on. For as good as they've been defensively, you'd still have to imagine their defense will crack at some point under this Portuguese offense. But I do expect it to be close. So, as I said, I think Portugal could perhaps nab a winner. But a plus 250, I like that winning margin prop. Portugal to win by exactly 1 goal. And that'll be my play in this one.
All right, Kevin Dolan, Wager Talk. I'll have the promo guys again at the end of the show. But Nick, I'm going to go to you next on this one. I kind of like that play by Kev here. I just don't see this being something along the lines of 6-1. We saw what Morocco did. They've yet to allow a goal in this tournament that was scored by the other team. The only team thus far to get a goal was Canada, and that was an own goal in the match day 3 game. But they've held Spain off the board, Belgium off the board, Croatia off the board. Can they hold Portugal off the board?
Well, I'll say I think it's been a great run for Morocco, but I think it ends here, and I do agree that Kevin's play to win by a goal seems like a very likely scenario. If you look at just the Spain matchup, I just hate Spain and how they play. They just want to hold the ball, and all they do is just hold a bunch of empty possession, and that's really all they did. Morocco was fine, just let them kick the ball back and forth. And that's Spain had one shot in the first half, one shot. By the end of the game, they had 7, and it wasn't until the last, 5-10 minutes that they actually got 4 or 5 of those shots as they finally realized, you know what, maybe we should try to push for the win here, because if we go to extra time, anything can happen, and, of course, they're going home. Portugal, the difference for me, comparing them to Spain, or even Belgium, right, because Belgium clearly look like a shadow of their former selves as they age and age and age. Portugal are much more clinical than Spain and Belgium and a lot of the teams that they faced so far. And I just think that the chances that Portuguese will be able to create, they'll be able to take advantage of. And let's be honest, Portugal clearly had the best goal scorer on the field on this team, and that is, of course, 21-year-old Ramos, who did, as Carr mentioned, started over Ronaldo. That hat trick was very, very impressive, and sky's the limit for this kid. But that Portugal, their roster is so good. I have to think at some point they're going to break down Morocco. They're going to get their chance, and when they get their chance, I think they'll just be able to capitalize, unlike Spain. So Morocco will play them tough. I don't see this as a big blowout like Kevin mentioned, but I just don't see Morocco going on. The one thing I'll mention about Morocco is that they haven't trailed in this tournament. Okay, assuming. Listen, Portugal would be wise to put out a game plan to go ahead and attack early and try to get a goal really quickly, because Morocco is going to have to change how they play as soon as they fall behind. They haven't had to face that yet. And only one team in this entire tournament has generated less expected goals than Morocco, and that's the host, Qatar. So it really has me scratching my head. If they fall behind, I just don't know if they can change their tactics and come back. So for that reason, I have to go Portugal here. On the money line's at minus 150 or so. I do like Kevin's play. I'll back that as well to win by a goal, because I think at least Morocco will give him a little bit of fits. But at the end, Portugal should win this one.
All right. Pavlos, I'm going to give you the last word on this one, and hopefully not too long a last word. But how about a Morocco-Croatia final? That's still possible. Pavlos, anytime.
Oh, I'm muted. Okay, that would send everybody to the trash can. Everybody would just destroy everybody's bets. But still, this is not as easy as it seems. This will be the 10th knockout round between a European side and an African side. So in previous 11 such occasions, the European side has progressed 9 times, and they've been eliminated just twice. And another interesting stat is that Cristiano Ronaldo has never scored in a World Cup knockout match yet. So he's probably going to come from the bench. He's probably going to be subbed off at maybe 60th, 70th, 80th minute in order to play if there's an extra time, and of course the penalty kicks. So maybe if you want to get him to score the last goal of that match at plus 350, plus 400, I wouldn't be surprised. And if he scores and it's a winning goal, he's probably going to get carded as well, because he's going to take his shirt off. You know how he is. But as far as a more realistic bet, I'm going to take the under 2.5 goals, guys. I think this Morocco defense has been out of this world, actually, in this World Cup. Yassine Bounou, well, by the way, I gave him out as a free play, and of course it's a client play as well. It's still available at DraftKings to win the Golden Glove at plus 2,500. I'm getting it. I mean, as Carmine said, they haven't conceded a single goal apart from the own goal that they conceded. So that's the most clean sheets in the World Cup. Bounou has made the most saves, along with who is it? Alisson, I believe. I don't have the exact stat, but still, these are two very, very defensive-minded sides. Coach Fernando Santos for Portugal, he's a legendary tactician. He won't go for the kill like they did with Switzerland. Of course, Morocco's defense is much, much better than that of Switzerland's, and I just see this as a very, very cagey match, possibly with a lot of fouls, possibly with a couple of cards, because keep in mind, guys, that the cards are reset after this round. So up until now, we've seen teams and players play very, very conservatively so as to not get cards, but I think this is one of the matches that we could see cards, because, again, the cards are reset after this match. So after all that is said and done, I like the under 2.5 goals here. Minus 135, excuse me. I think there is a good chance we'll see a goalless draw, a 1-1 draw, or even if Portugal win, if they're 1-0 up or 2-0 up, they're not going to risk it. They're going to park the bus, and it's going to probably stay right there. So I like the under 2.5 goals here at minus 135.
All right, there you go. There's Pavlos's play on this game. I'm going to give Pavlos the red card. There it is, Pavlos, for you. But we will be, let's do a quick recap of the last couple games that we covered, if we can get them up on the screen, from our trusted and beloved producer. England and France. Nick is on England money line plus 210. Pavlos over 2.5. He doesn't care who wins. And of course, Kev on England to qualify plus 120. The Morocco and Portugal. Nick is on Portugal money line minus 151. Pavlos on under 2.5. Of course, he still doesn't care who wins. And Kev on Portugal to win by 1 goal exactly at plus 250. Guys, remember, you can get the World Cup package for the rest of the tournament. It is discounted down to $89 over at WagerTalk. The guys have cards up for the quarterfinals. Myself, I have a 5% play along with a bunch of other quarterfinal plays. You can get them all with that package, of course. We'll be back next Tuesday where we'll discuss the semifinal round and what transpired with these 4 games on Friday and Saturday. Guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Stoppage Time World Cup edition. We wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone, as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special, as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed, and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.